Hello and welcome to Virtual Camp Lovehoney, our very first virtual session today with everyone from around Australia. Thank you so much for joining us. This originated from a media day we did last year, and the demand from the general public was huge for us to share this directly with you. So thank you for joining us tonight. We have got a star-studded collection of speakers and subject areas to go through. But first of all, I'm Rob. I'm the director of Lovehoney Australia. I've been with the business from the start 7 years ago, and yeah, very proud to be leading this brilliant team and company.
Yeah, and I'm Tasha. I'm the PR and marketing manager of Australia, and yeah, helped put the event together today. So I hope you guys all enjoy it.
Okay, so we are going to introduce our first speakers. We have got online AJ Clementine. She is YouTube, Instagram, TikTok sensation. We are very proud to have her on board today to be discussing how to loving the skin you're in. Hi AJ, how you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you guys?
We're fabulous. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We had a quick session this morning with the media, and we're very pleased to have AJ helping us out tonight. So yeah, thank you for coming on board tonight. Do you want to give a bit of a background to yourself and to our viewers?
Yeah, so I'm AJ Clementine. I started doing my social media kind of stuff in high school and just had a huge passion to creating things. And I kind of saw an outlet that there wasn't much representation or visibility around like the LGBTQ plus community and like the media. So I thought there was a space for it. And especially being a trans woman, I just thought that maybe if I documented my story, then it could reach just one person. And yeah, now we're here today, and I've created a little cute community of people that within the community and even outside the community that can just relate to my story. And yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. Do you want to, just we're waiting for Chantal Otten to join us. She's calling in from France at the moment. So just we'll wait for her to join us. Do you want to give us a bit of a background on what you're doing with Mardi Gras this year?
Yeah, so I was lucky to go to Mardi Gras with Instagram. So I was a part of their float, which was really exciting. And it was my second year with them to be a part of their float. And it was also like my first Mardi Gras with them last year, and just being a part of that experience. And I always thought that it was very much like you could always see the pictures and the videos and stuff like that and be like, oh wow, like the vibes look really amazing and fun. But once you're there, it's really crazy how it's like amplified, it's vivacious, it's just, yeah, the energy is amazing. And I just wish I could bottle up that energy from that one night for like the rest of my life, because it's just like, yeah, I constantly think about it, and I just feel so lucky to experience that and be a part of it with Instagram. Was just so much fun as well. And yeah, it was just such a great experience. And yeah, Instagram, the official Instagram page shared a picture of me on the float as well, which was just crazy. Like they have like a huge reach, and I was just like, wow, this is just, yeah, too much. But yeah, it was so much fun. And yeah, it's an experience I'll hold like for the rest of my life.
So what kind of projects are you doing at the moment?
Well, seeing where like I'm in Melbourne, so we're in like ISO at the moment. So a lot of like the stuff that I have to do is just inside, and there's not really any like shoots happening. But yeah, it's mostly a few things that are like kind of secret and will be like launching very soon, which I'm so excited to like share. But yeah, I've like worked really hard on something that I'm actually going to announce like in a month or so. So yeah, it's really exciting.
It's just you and me. You can tell me. There's no one else here. We can share it if you like.
I'll share it privately. Secretly.
Awesome.
But
well, I look forward to hearing that in due course. But if you do want to give us a sneak preview tonight, feel free. Not stop you doing that. I'd also like to introduce Lovehoney's very own sexologist, Chantal Otten. Chantal is part of the Lovehoney family. Even though she is in France at the moment, she is joining us internationally with our live satellite link. Welcome, Chantal. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much, and I'm sorry that it's taken me a few minutes to get on here. I'm so excited to talk to you, AJ. I think it's going to be really great, and thanks, Tash and Rob, for beginning the session for me. I think we're going to have a lot of fun.
Okay, yeah, we'll hand over to you guys.
Beautiful. Sounds good. So, AJ, lots to talk about today, especially around confidence, which is really important. Do you want to tell me a little bit about your confidence journey?
Yeah, of course. I feel like it's something that for everybody is like an ongoing kind of thing. But being someone that's like part of like Gen Z and growing up with social media and really trying to understand the like the fake aspect and like the things that you can really be negative towards like your self-esteem and all that kind of stuff like that. I feel like I've learned to really tap into the things that have like made me happy along the way, you know, like self-confidence to me is the little things that we do, whether it's like your favorite sweater or like a certain piece of clothing or like make like a certain makeup look or just exploring like your individuality and just really sticking by your core values and what really makes you feel good from within and bringing that to your outer like self as well. And that can come in like lots of different like forms, you know, like yeah, I feel like it's also being someone that has gone through like a whole transition as well, like being a trans like girl, like it's something that even in itself is like an ongoing kind of thing. Like there's no end goal and there isn't really like a point where you'd be like, oh, like I'm totally confident like in this point and in this moment. It's something that's just like you continuously move on and at different points of like my personal transition I like would have different peaks of like confidence, you know, and I feel like lots of people can really relate to that and know that it's like it's a work in progress. And confidence for me is just something that one day you can be really confident and the other day it can just be like not so much and you just want to stay in bed and just hide away from the world. But it's just those little tiny things that you can really do to make you feel a bit more of yourself, you know?
Absolutely. And it makes me think it would be really interesting, when we get introduced into seminars like this or to other people, it's often we hear an introduction that with the basic knowledge of what people know about us. Okay, this is Chantal and she is a sexologist. How would you actually introduce yourself to someone else or to a conference?
Yeah, so
in terms of your journey.
Right, okay. Yeah, I would literally just like tell people that like I'm the like walking like definition of just living like authentically, you know? Like I'm proud of being a trans woman and just like owning that label, you know, like I spent a lot of my time with like my transition being like, oh, you know what, like I'm just a girl and like I don't want to like have trans as the big part of like, you know, like it's not the forefront of who I am. But evidently
Yes.
it's very important to my identity. And part of that is like the visibility behind it, and like how my experience will always be different as well. You know, like I will never be cisgender, so there's no point trying to pretend or try and like be like in denial, or like try and really tell myself that like I'm not trans, you know? So yeah,
Yeah.
I've gotten to a point now where it's just like, yeah, like I'm fine to, obviously in a safe, comfortable environment, to tell people who I am. And also like confident and be confident about like being a trans model as well. Like I used to, when I got into modeling, I was always just like,
Yeah.
I'm just a model, but putting the trans in front of it like really adds to that sense of visibility. And it's like, I'm not just doing this for me, I'm doing it for like my trans brother and sisters as well, who like
Yeah.
it's tough times. And we need to change like the way that we view trans people, and the negative kind of representation and stereotypes that happened in the past. Yeah, like we're in that forefront, and the future is like changing that.
Oh, absolutely. And thank God we have beautiful women like you around, because I think that the world is opening up, and with shows like Euphoria as well, which is extremely important for people getting to see what it's like being a trans girl, and what it's like, you know, going through these stages in terms of self-esteem. Where do you fit in as well? I wonder if, with this process you've been going through, have you thought a lot about your role in the way that you are shaping the world, and I guess the future, in terms of the conversation around sexuality, the conversation around authenticity, and the conversation around confidence?
Yeah, I feel like with just like the LGBTQI plus community in general, like it's so important to have those open discussions and have the people within the community feel like they can discuss things in like a comfortable and safe environment, like at all times. Obviously, it's really tricky to navigate that with people's understandings and their lack of knowledge and stuff like that. But like for me, like when
Yeah.
it comes to like sexuality, I was like very much like a late bloomer as well, and I kept that in the back of my mind
Yes.
because like obviously my first kind of thing was the transition, and my all my energy went into that. So like it really goes back to like you have to love yourself before you could love anybody else, because I physically needed to focus on that journey of loving myself, and then I could think about sexuality. But like sexuality can come in all different shapes and forms, and like it's on the spectrum. So it doesn't need to be, you know, like it can be just changing, like sexuality doesn't need to be linked to just like your clothes, or your choices of makeup, or the way that you act, or your interests and stuff like that, or the types of toys that you want to use and stuff like that. That doesn't have to define your sexuality. And I feel like people also are confused by that. They feel like just because they prefer something means that they have to put a label on something. And it's like, no, we're all at our own journey. We're all at our own pace. You don't have to be quick to label anything.
Yeah.
You can just do what you feel is good in that moment. And yeah, you don't have to feel like you have to rush to put something on yourself, you know? And also you have the power to make the label stick as well. So if someone tells you what they think you are, like that's not you until you really truly feel it, and you know that that's who you are. And these discussions need to be like talked about, you know? And yeah, and I feel
Yeah.
like creating that environment is so important, which is why visibility is so important.
Yeah, you're championing it, and I think that that's a really important thing. And wow, I'm proud of you. Well done. I think it's incredible. Tell us how important it is for you to also, I guess, explore your sexuality, and how have you gone with that journey? And I know that's a really intimate topic, but that's why we're all here as well, to be able to share and to normalize and create a safe space.
Yeah. I like definitely like struggled with like understanding sexuality a bit more than like I did with just like coming out and coming to terms of knowing that I'm like trans, because like sexuality can be really confusing at times. Like you, especially when it involves people, I feel like you don't want to, like the fear of like leading someone on, or like playing with someone's emotions, or like all that kind of stuff like that. But yeah, we all deal with things in different ways, and there's lots of internalized stuff that has happened because of whether it's your environment or the media and things that people tell you. It can just all get like confusing at times. But like for me, I've always like, my attraction was always towards like boys, and I always would like feel like that. I always felt like masculine energy was what I needed to feel more feminine. And sometimes I'll get caught off guard when I would like come across like a friend who was kind of like who I wanted to be, like a female friend who was just like, do I want to be them? Or is like, do I have a crush on them? Or is it something deeper, you know? And sometimes, like one of my close friends in high school, like she was like the first person to kind of like be really open-minded and talk about like being trans and stuff like that with me, even when I was kind of not out about it, or really kind of like in major denial about it. And I used to always like kind of push her away and wasn't a really nice person to her, because like number one, she was really sweet about it, and I was kind of just like why does she care so much, and why does she want to make sure that I'm okay? And I was kind of forming to be like, and I also was scared for liking a girl as well, because I was just like, no, like I need to like boys, because a boy is going to make me feel small and cutesy and really feminine, you know? So yeah, and as I got older, and now also like reaching out to her again, I was just like, hey, like let's talk about like that tension, and the fact of like I had a crush on you back then, and like I think you knew that, and it was just like, you know, and she was totally fine about it. And it's just like, it's crazy how much we keep to ourselves, and we don't really, we're just afraid to feel things. And I feel like that's something that's happened as like a society, that we just want to not talk about these kind of things. And yeah, just that example shows how important it is to really open that discussion. And now to this day, it's like it's evolved to being like yeah, like I don't, like it took me so many years to discover, and being like, oh, like, you know what, I actually feel like I'm like at the, like I'm confident to just be like, yeah, like if I ended up liking a girl or falling in love with a girl, then that's okay, you know? And and I know that like it doesn't, like my levels of femininity and like how I express my femininity doesn't come from like a man and the comfort of a man, you know? Like it comes from how I feel about myself and my own body. And I feel like as my transition went on as well, and I felt more feminine, and my body started to align with what I saw in my head, then I started to feel more comfortable with my sexuality, and everything just started to fall into place. And like, you know, and now it's just like, yeah, like yes, I'm in a relationship with a man, and like the ways that, you know, like it doesn't, it took me up until this point to be like, that doesn't define like who I am, you know? And like it's the little things you do, you know, it's always like you can feel more feminine from like wearing like whatever you want to wear. But like for me, like I love wearing like wearing like matching lingerie sets that like go in with like my personal style, you know, like I love like one pieces that just are really, they're just really feminine, you know, like lace is just a really feminine kind of thing. And that is just so much more powerful than, you know, what I thought before was just like, I don't care about what I'm wearing. I need like, you know, like I don't need like makeup. I don't need like girls' clothes. I just need a man to make me feel feminine. And yeah, it's just crazy how that like shifts, you know, like it's just like, yeah, and and
it's very
now
normal
like
stuff.
when I think about like, yeah, exactly.
That's amazing. And I mean, if you think about it, I think a lot of my friends, a lot of my patients are still on that journey to figure that out about themselves as well. You know, everyone will go through stages where they do feel really good, and that maybe they feel like they have a clear vision on their sexuality, on their sexual self-esteem, on their general confidence. But you know, that kind of stuff comes in waves. It's like rolling hills, you know. There will be times where you go, what? This is totally different to how I used to feel. And this is a totally different vibe to what I'm used to. What does this actually mean? And I think what, you know, you and I are trying to say, and especially you, is just go with the flow. You know, what we need to do is wake up every day, yeah, and accept, okay, well, this is my state right now, and I'm still worthy. I'm still worthy of having a great life. I'm still worthy of having a great relationship, and I'm still worthy of getting out of bed and putting on things that make me feel good. It doesn't matter what that mood is for the day, right?
Exactly.
How good.
And just because you did
What,
because you did one thing, it doesn't mean you have to like stick to that, you know? Like just because the person you were a year ago doesn't mean that's you today. And just because, you know, you can meet like one person that can literally change things for you. Like before meeting my boyfriend, like it was like I was more focused on like female energy, and I just wasn't in the mindset to think about guys. But my boyfriend literally embodies like a man, but is really in touch with the feminine side, you know? Like I tell him this all the time. It's like dating a man, but kind of having a girlfriend, and it's like that's like so beautiful, you know, because those kind of men are so rare, and and it's just that's you'll get surprised, because I didn't think like men like this like existed besides Harry Styles, and it's like that's like one in like how you know, like it's just like no, there's no way you're gonna come across like someone like Harry Styles. So it's just like you just kind of feel like you just never know what's going to happen. Like life is just crazy like that.
So you're basically telling us what your type is, right? You like the guys with a bit of the longer hair, and they're tapped into their feminine side, and they're good looking. Okay, well, we'll have to make sure. I mean, there's so many beautiful men like that in the world, so it's very exciting. I guess what we need from you is we need some tips. How do you feel more confident in yourself? Do you have some go-to practices? Can you pass them on to us? Can we grab some of your energy?
Yeah, definitely. I like what I was saying before, like it's all those little things that you do to feel a bit more confident. So for me, it's like whatever kind of like makeup is kind of inspiring me at the moment. I can like really fixate on something. Like, for example, you mentioned Euphoria, and like Euphoria makeup is really changing the game, and like that just in itself, like that energy really like makes me feel like so confident and just like so sexy and just really in that kind of atmosphere. I just feel like I'm in the show like constantly 24/7. So like there's this exploring your makeup, there's exploring your wardrobe, there's like literally exploring your sexuality or exploring how you feel about yourself, like from the inside, you know, like just giving yourself daily affirmations and doing all these little things to really add to your self-esteem, you know. And also like for me, like when the days I'm eating like a bit more healthier, like adding a bit more exercise, even though I hate it to bits, like it's always like the aftermath. I'm just like, you know what, that's actually not too bad, and I feel kind of good. So I might do that again. Maybe in a month's time, I might do like another exercise, you know, like it's just you really bring everything into your own life to really try and make yourself feel a bit more better. And like for me, I feel like because like a lot of trans people would relate to this, but because you have to really wake up and face a lot of like things about yourself early on at like a young age, you kind of like have to really force yourself to love yourself, like even at points in your life when you don't. So like getting through that is like literally like I said as well, like when at the beginning of my transition, I would buy lots of cute like lingerie, and that was one thing that really made me feel feminine, just because even though like my body wasn't like at the point that I wanted it to be, I knew that like I could kind of envision myself in like, you know, like what my body would look like in those like sets and stuff like that. Or just like, you know, I at the beginning it was more so just like, I would wear it just like secrecy, or just like to feel a bit more cute under like my clothes and stuff like that. But like now I kind of introduced it to being like a part of like my style, you know, like wearing it tucked into some high-waisted jeans, or just making it like, yeah, really like cutesy and just more modern. Just makes me feel like badass and really like myself as well. Yeah, and I also feel like just, yeah, taking care of not just like the outer you, but also like, yeah, the inside you is just so, 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 so important. Like making sure that you're feeling that inner child you as well, that you're doing the things that made you happy when you were younger. Yeah, because that really adds to your confidence. And just, yeah, staying true to what you value. And if anyone in your environment is making you feel like what you're doing is wrong, or you shouldn't be doing something because of their like opinion on it, then they're not worth your time. And like you don't need that toxic energy in your life. Because yeah, I feel like that's also a major part to feeling confident, is also the people you surround yourself with.
Absolutely. My mom always said to me, you know, you're driving your own bus in life, and there will be people who are on your bus, and there will be people that sometimes have to get off at a certain stop. And maybe they will stay at that stop, or maybe they'll walk around the block and get on a little bit later at a different stop. And I thought that was always such a wise analogy to say to people, you know, you're allowed to let people off your bus, because it doesn't mean they're not on the same journey as you. It just might mean that they might take a different path as well. And I think for you, that's such a wise thing to come out of your mouth as well, to go, we've got to surround ourselves with happiness. I mean, we're talking on a panel for the Sexual Happiness Company as well, and it comes back as well to sexuality, not just quality of life. That in general, we have to be able to be adaptable, and we have to be able to be having fun, tap into that inner child, you know, do things that make us happy, laugh a lot more. I think we move on from so serious and just enjoy, be grateful, be present mainly. I wonder if being in the public eye affects your ability to be present sometimes, or does it affect your confidence?
I would feel that it affects like my anxiety levels a lot more than it does with like my confidence. I feel like because I've done it for a while, you kind of build that like thick skin, and what people say online, you kind of get into that mindset that like it's usually a like reflection, or they're deflecting something onto you that they actually aren't really dealing with themselves. And it's not really to excuse their behavior, but it's one way that we can cope with why people act out like that online and feel like such keyboard warriors. But I guess like because because I feel so connected, and the people that I'm so grateful that I have such a lovely and loyal like following. I don't feel like I didn't really create a persona. I didn't really create a like that kind of thing where it's like I'm not disconnected from the people that follow me, you know, like I share as much as I want to, and they respect that. And if I'm like, hey, like I'm just going to like not do something like, or post something, then like they understand that too. So yeah, I feel like it's also about like how you treat the environment and how you express the ways, you know, those boundaries and all that kind of stuff. Because yeah, obviously it's one of those things that just like at the end of the day, I can like just take a breath and shut off like the social media and stuff like that, and just try and be present with my family and friends and boyfriend, and and just try and not really think about it as much. But I feel like to me it's like a world, and it's like it's a safe space, and it's like a place where I feel comfort as well from the community that I've created. So I don't feel like there's any like pressure. Like I'm literally myself, and I love that, and that's whenever I'm truly being myself and authentic and just like doing something really stupid, that's when people love it the most. They don't like the like trying to be like done up and being like, like just trying to be put together. Because like, that's not me. And even if like the days I'm like, I look put together, it's like I'm literally dying inside, and it's just like I'm trying to get like unpacking like my anxiety and like panic and stuff like that. So it's just like, at the end of the day, we're all in the same boat, and we're all just human living day by day, so I don't take it too seriously. That's that's the best way I can sum it up. I just don't.
Yeah. And what I noticed from when you were speaking just then is you talked a bit about boundaries, and by you creating boundaries, that's a way that you actually demand respect as well. So boundaries with your followers, boundaries with people around you, boundaries maybe with family members or friends or partners. That's a way of you saying, hang on, it's not all, I can't give everything right now. This is what I can give, and you have to stand back and let me do that because it's part of the process here. And also in saying, you know what, I suffer with panic, I suffer with anxiety. By you actually putting that out there into the world, you're being vulnerable, and people have an insight, a looking glass inside to your life and the way that your mind works. And the fact that just because you're a social media sensation doesn't mean that you're not a human. And I think that that's so important, because we need to move more towards that. Remember when Instagram started and it was all such beautiful curated pictures and everyone was on vacation in exotic places? We've changed. Society doesn't want that anymore. Society wants more people like yourself who are like, oh my God, I don't even know where my brain is today and my stomach's in a knot. What's going on with you guys? And I think that especially with COVID-19 right now, it's extremely important that we have role models like yourself out there in the world, so other people feel like it's acceptable for them to go, I'm flat, it's not my day, I'm just going to roll with it and see what I can do to feel better.
Exactly.
In terms of body image, is that something that has changed and developed for you over the years? And how does your body image now compare to you maybe, 4 years ago or 5 years ago? How have you developed? I mean, it's a daily thing, but in terms of year span, I'm sure that there's been a few milestones.
Yeah, I feel like as like body image is so different for each like person, and it also depends on what that person is consuming and what they're seeing, whether it's in like magazines or online. But I feel like as you get older, you kind of feel a bit more like, I don't know, you just feel more comfortable in that skin that you're in. Not like, even if you're cisgender or if you're trans, like trans people literally feel more comfortable, like close like to their end goal and what they feel like aligns with who they truly see in their mind, whether it's going through hormone therapy or the surgeries and all that kind of stuff like that. For me, it was like the way I viewed my body like changed so much once I went and had gender confirmation surgery. And just dealing with being a girl with a penis like was just something I just couldn't really like work with, like it was just something I just didn't, it was so uncomfortable. And I can't even think about the mindset that I was in before having the surgery. So I just, now that I've created this like environment where it's just like I talk about freely on my socials, is that once again that visibility is so important. And I focus more on that and ignore all those kind of like those perceptions I feel like is the ideal body, or anything that kind of makes me feel like I need to be that. I literally have trained my brain to not think about that anymore, you know? Like, you can really get yourself down on being like, why is my body like not as curvy as like her body? Or is that real? Did they have surgery or did they edit it? You know, we don't know what's like real and what's fake online. Like, it's so hard to tell. So yeah, it's much more easier to like stand with yourself and find what you truly need and what you know will make you happy, whether it is to get that nose job or to get the boob job, you know, and just really like to try and phase out what you're seeing online. Like, don't get it because you see that one girl that's got it, like get it for you, you know. And as social media gets more a part of our lives, the more like, you know, like face filters and that change your face and all that kind of stuff like that. I feel like for lots of people, it's much more harder to grasp who they really are because there's so much things that they can change the way that they look. You know, there's literal apps where you can like make videos of it, like your waist being like skinny, you know, like really like slim down. It's like, that's really scary, like for people's self-esteem. And you know, it's just like, I feel like, yeah, as we get older, we get more comfortable with our bodies, but it's like we can't also change the movements of social media too. But what we can do is educate people and being like, if we stand together and be like, hey, that's not okay, like call people out on it, then, you know, like we're going to create better environments for our younger generations to be like, this isn't real and we should talk about it, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely. I know that I maybe you'll be able to give me your opinion in regards to people 5 years ago compared to now and their self-esteem. I think that it's pretty clear that there is quite a shift because of, you know, phenomena like the Kardashians and Facetune and, you know, applications that allow you to really not even appear like yourself in social media. And they are changing rules in certain countries around what you can do. So maybe you actually have to disclose if you've used a filter or not, or Instagram will automatically do it for you. Especially because there's been a few images out about certain people who've really changed the way that they look, and then we see them in reality and they're completely different. I think that it's really important that we actually start disclosing, hey guys, this is me, just letting you know I've got this filter on today, or I face tuned this part of myself. This is what I wanted to do. It doesn't mean that it's realistic. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I definitely think that that's where we should be heading. Like, we shouldn't shame the people that want to edit, and obviously like retouching and editing photos has like been a part of like the beauty and fashion industry when it comes to modeling and stuff like that. So if we bring that into social media as well, it's like, yeah, that should be like known and should be talked about, you know, but we shouldn't like shame the people for doing it, because it's like, if they feel more better with themselves for doing that, then that's fine. But they should also be aware that like it's also not healthy for them to be promoting that and being like, I got this body naturally. Yeah, I remember I read somewhere that like, I think in Paris they like with like pictures, like any like editorials or like just modeling pictures in general, like you have to say if it's been like altered, like every business has to say, or it's like against the law, you can get fined. And I think that's so powerful, and I think that's lots of countries should switch to that. Like, I think that would help a lot when it comes to people's mental health and self-esteem, when how they feel about themselves, because like if we just knew that that wasn't naturally, you know, like that wasn't achieved naturally, it was literally edited, then we could feel so much better about ourselves, you know, like, because we already know that like when you do like shoots and stuff like that, it's a whole process. It literally takes a whole day to get that one image, you know, but then that one image can also be edited to look a little bit more better. And it's just like, that's not attainable. So that should be discussed a bit more, and like,
yeah, it makes me really curious to know where society is heading, because I know that, you know, maybe in my mom's kind of day and age, then being really slim was very fashionable in the magazines. It was very much the Elle Macpherson stage, whereas for her mother, it was really around the kind of Marilyn Monroe body, so that curvaceous body. And then when I was growing up, you know, models were stick thin. It was really the fashion models at Paris Fashion Week, and they were like this, and that caused a huge amount of problems, not just for myself, but for a lot of my friends. And now we're kind of getting to the stage where bodies are a little bit weird sometimes in terms of the way that they've been edited. They're not achievable bodies a lot of the time.
yeah.
But I also notice that with with that, there comes like a bit of a healthy balance where there is also a rise in influencers, you know, like yourself, that are just authentic. And there are also people that are there to show off, actually, this is just my skin without any editing at all. And it's about loving my body for what it is. And they're not soppy, sad stories. They're just pointing out the obvious. You don't have to go and have major surgery and have cosmetic alterations to be a beautiful person. If you want to do it, absolutely fine. No judgment here. And I think that it's also great that there is less judgment around cosmetic alterations. But, you know, I'm really curious to see what the future looks like in terms of what the ideal body is going to be like, and how people are going to edit themselves, and what the fashion's going to be like. Are you?
Yeah, definitely. I'm always like curious to see how much like fashion evolves, and what comes into style, and what the younger generations like visually um like show themselves, and how they you know, like just like what they decide what's trendy and what's hot. And yeah, I just feel like yeah, it's so fascinating. Like you said, like it's crazy how much, when you compare like the female body and what was like the beauty standard in each like era, and like, each time, you know, it's crazy how much it shifts from being like this to like this to this, and it's just like it's crazy, and it just shows that like what there's so many different types of people, and just because what somebody is saying that that's what's hot at the moment doesn't like take away from like how valid your body is, you know. And at the end of the day, it's like it's really important that you're comfortable with the person that you are like going to bed with, and like that's what we should be trying to tell people, because like you can edit a picture as much as possible and do that like ab workout every single day, but like if you're not truly happy with the way that you think and feel, then yeah, you're just going to end up in this constant loop of like feeling down on yourself, you know.
Yeah. You're incredible. I love some kind of alarm in the morning with your voice going, today's going to be great. You're going to feel okay. And if you're not, we'll be fine. You need to set up an app or something like that around motivational speaking. I wonder if there was one thing that you could tell yourself about body confidence when you were, you know, your younger you when you were little, what would you say?
I would literally just say that like life is like a work in progress, and like it's not a race. Just because people get there quicker than you, then doesn't mean that you're not gonna get there too, you know? Like it's you will like find peace in different parts of your life. And just because it doesn't feel right at that moment doesn't mean it won't pass on, and you won't feel better in a year's time or 5 years time. You know, it's everyone's at their own pace and their own like journey. So yeah, you're going to just hurt yourself like comparing to someone else's experience. And yeah.
Totally. I think that also goes into the type of people that you follow on social media too. I mean, when I became a sexologist, when I started my Instagram, there were no photos out there on Instagram. It was very hard for me to find photos of people in the LGBTQI community showing off their eroticism, showing off their sexuality, being sponsored by brands to wear lingerie, to, you know, make it well known that the world we live in is diverse. And I think now I've noticed such a shift between, especially like 2019 to 2020, that we, you know, I have plenty of content to pick from that's actually representative of the community we live in. Because I used to get messages saying, your Instagram actually doesn't make me feel good because all your photos are of slim women who have, you know, been altered. And I would respond back and say, I actually can't find photos of you know, that are representative of the population. Now, you know, Lovehoney, they have everyone on their feed from different diverse backgrounds, different sizes, different shapes, and different levels of, I guess, femininity and confidence. And I think that it's such an amazing way to go that we have people like yourself and like Lovehoney championing the way forward, and how normal it is and how realistic it is.
Yeah, I agree,
So I
100%.
want,
Like just normalizing it, like normalizing everyone's experience is so important.
absolutely. I wonder if anyone who, because we have about 5 minutes to go, does anyone watching want to ask a few questions? Because now is the time. You have AJ here, she's ready to answer them. Usually it takes people a few minutes to gather their thoughts. To people watching, AJ, that's on your mind, that's important?
Sorry, what was that?
Do you have anything that you would like to throw out to people who are attending, and you know, just let them know a few keywords?
Yeah, I mean,
Or something that's on your mind.
yeah, I just guess that when we sum up like everything that we've discussed, it's just like feel just everyone should feel that they should be okay with where they are in their point in life, you know? Like there's no certain age, there's no certain time to really, you know, like to truly come into yourself. Like it can happen at any moment. And yeah, just making sure that you stay like true to your own like values is really important.
Yeah.
And I guess like you
We
said,
have
like
a
I feel
question
like
from one of our attendees, which is, sorry, there's a bit of a lag with my voice. Who inspires you with your body confidence?
I mean, like there's lots of people, like my best friend, Bambi. She is an amazing person that talks about how she feels, and she's just another trans girl talking about her experience. I love like Kim Petras as well. She's like an amazing pop singer, and she's also trans. A lot of like trans women that I follow just is so inspiring to me, because it just yeah showcases all different experiences, you know, and just different um, people and how we exist differently in this world.
Mm-hmm. We have another question. What is your favorite self-care practice, AJ? You seem to be so in tune with yourself and so good at knowing what you need.
My favorite self-care practice would probably just be like taking care of my skin. Like yeah, I'm so crazy about just like doing like face sheets, like these Korean face sheets. I love getting like just whatever kind that does like hydration. Like they don't have to be expensive. Like I just literally get the cheap ones. And then doing clay masks, like just yeah, keeping my skin hydrated, drinking a lot of water, they're just my top like tips, you know, like whenever someone like says something about my skin and being like, wow, like your skin's glowing, it's like they literally just like to sit like at home with a face mask and just like, you know, just literally I just feel good doing something to my skin, whether it's like drowning it in rosehip oil. It's just I'm always doing something to it.
Oh my God. You know, I'm going to go put on my hyaluronic acid face mask as well before our next panel, because I definitely need what you've got. Your cheeks, your whole face. It's so good. We have Katie as well, who has said, thank you so much for sharing. You're incredible. And, you know, lots of love from Melbourne. And we have a few more questions as well before we finish up. One of them is, how did you learn about self-acceptance and being comfortable in your own skin?
I guess like YouTube was a huge part of like just understanding the LGBTQ plus community a bit more. There was literally nothing like when I was a teen, like it was so hard. Like I was searching the deep dark web to find like information. There wasn't much like articles about it. And yeah, the YouTubers I watched at the time, like um they literally I wouldn't even call them YouTubers. Like a lot of times they're just like personal blogs of people just on their webcam talking about their coming out experience, or talking about their crushes, or talking about when they're starting their transition and stuff like that. And yeah, I would literally just have a whole like watch list of these people around the world that I would just feel like I knew them, you know, and some of them I reached out to them and shared like experiences, you know, and some still message me to this day. And yeah, I find like that's so comforting to find people within the community and just sharing experiences, because sometimes when you're at like your most like lowest and you're alone, yeah, it's nice to find some friends that can really relate to you, especially when you're in like an environment like school where it's like you don't know who is out or who is comfortable or if it's safe enough. So it's just like, yeah, sometimes you need to find it in different kinds of ways that are safe, you know?
Sorry, I'm going to have to wrap you up. We've run out of time, but thank you so much, AJ and Chantal. That was amazing. It was a really, really discussion. Yeah, and thank you, AJ, for sharing so much of your, you know, your personal journey with us. I think, you know, it's such an important topic to, you know, talk about body confidence and making sure people are, you know, feeling confident in their own skin. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. And I know we've got a couple of questions still in the Q&A that haven't answered yet. So we'll see if we can type out a couple of answers to those as well when we finish and Cam begins. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. We'll see you soon.